Hey guys, this is the Movie Hour, and I'm your host Danny, and alongside me, my co-host and sister Vanessa.
Hi.
The Movie Hour is your friendly neighborhood podcast where we talk about and make fun of all our favorite films, from the good, the bad, and the downright ridiculous. In this episode, we'll be talking about the 2010 psychological horror film Black Swan. So, get your tickets, grab your popcorn, sit back, make yourselves comfortable, and enjoy this episode of the Movie Hour. Black Swan is a 2010 psychological film directed by Darren Aronofsky, which is a highly underrated director. He's directed many great films, including, I think, probably one of your favorite ones, correct?
Yes.
So it's Pi, Requiem for a Dream,
Love
The Wrestler.
it.
Oh yeah, that's. I didn't think I would like it, but I loved him way more than I thought I would.
It is such a good movie. Heartbreaking, but a great movie.
And honestly, probably like one of the scariest movies I've seen because of how real it is.
It's very scary. I don't think people realize, yes, it's like a psychological film, but it's also like petrifying because it could actually happen.
Yeah, and then it's dealing with like I guess like four people in reality. It's Jared Leto's character, Marlon Wayans, Jennifer Connelly, and the older lady,
Right.
Ellen Burst, I believe is her name.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, do you know she's the mom in The Exorcist?
Nah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I found
cool.
that out.
Okay. A fun little fact.
Yeah, so that's just like you said, heartbreaking and just terrifying, and I don't know, that like jumped into my top 25 list easily.
All right. I feel pretty good about that because
Yeah, I love that one.
all right. Yeah, no, that's a great one. So, yeah, he's off to a good start already.
Yeah, he's off to a good start. And this one, Black Swan, so that's two like great films already.
Yeah, he killed it.
He killed it. And so yeah, he's directed Pi, Requiem for a Dream, The Wrestler, Mother, and The Whale, just to name a few.
Oh, I like The Whale. Did you watch that?
No, that's actually on my watch list. Like I think it came out on Netflix, so I'm probably gonna try to watch it today, if not tomorrow.
It's actually not bad. I had low expectations for it,
Uh-huh.
honestly. But it's not too bad. I do think obviously Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan are like a lot better, but as far as like it being terrible, it's not terrible.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm on the opposite scale because I've always heard good things about it.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, no. I was in the opposite camp. I feel like I've heard like it's okay or it kind of the
right.
storyline's pretty good, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like overweight like teacher or something, right?
Yes. He teaches like virtually, so his students like don't ever really see him.
Oh, okay.
And then he has like a daughter who doesn't really care for him, and it's honestly very sad.
Yeah, I imagine just hearing that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I had that on my watch list, especially since I saw it on Netflix. So I was probably gonna watch it today after this, or maybe tomorrow, depending on time.
Yeah. I'd had no idea he directed that. That's actually very news to me.
Well, I guess I've never seen it, but seeing Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan, I can definitely see that he has a certain style.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like that about directors that you can, like, even if you don't know, you're like, that kind of looks like one of his films, or her
Yes.
films. And so I really like that he's very um unique in that sense.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah. So all right, well, I'll give that one a watch. The film's cast includes Natalie Portman as Nina Sayers, Mila Kunis as Lily, Vincent Cassell as Thomas Leroy, Barbara Hershey as Erica Sayers or Nina's mother, and Winona Ryder as Elizabeth or Beth McIntyre. It has a runtime of 108 minutes, so an hour and 48 minutes, just under the 2 hour mark, and can be watched on Max as of the time of this recording. And I watched this somewhat recently, and this like skyrocketed as one of my favorite films. And it's very weird because I never thought I would like it. I really didn't know what it was about. I just knew it was about, ballet, ballerinas, or whatever, but I was not expecting the psychological horror aspect of it. So I think
Yes.
that really like brought me in.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think off rip, most people would just think it's like like you said, a ballet movie or a ballerina movie, but it's definitely scary. It
Oh
and
yeah.
I think everyone can relate to the movie, and you guys, the audience, will kind of figure out why. But I think everyone can relate to it. Being, having obsessions and feeling like you're not good enough in certain aspects of life, and yeah, overall, great movie.
Oh yeah, no, very well said. I think so. Um, and yeah, I think you're right. I think at least for me, what I learned about this movie is like how intense, like sports or art form, I guess this is more like an art, can be, that are very niche things that are not very, like public, wide known things.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
like I didn't know this was so cutthroat industry like this.
Yeah, I feel like ballet in general is like very secretive.
Right. And I guess we probably live in a place. I mean, I guess if we look, we could probably find it, but we probably live in a place that's not very uh cultured enough to have like a ballet community or at least a big one.
Yes. We do have a ballet like studio thing.
Hmm.
Um, but obviously, it's not going to be as cutthroat as, like the Black Swan is and being that kind of high up.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, I agree. I think, off rip, you wouldn't think that it's super competitive and intense, but this movie has definitely shed some light on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, you know, I remember you recommending me this one, so I really appreciate it. That was a really good movie. Um, I'm honestly like wanting to rewatch it again.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm glad that you like it. I was like, I don't know. I really was 50-50. I didn't know if you were going to like it or hate it. I feel like it could have gone either way, but I'm glad that you did like it. And yeah, no, I agree. This one, in my opinion, has very high rewatchability. I don't even think
Yeah.
that's a word, but like I feel like you can rewatch it and rewatch it and like you're not going to get tired of it.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So, yeah, this is a good one. So, we're in for a treat today.
All right.
All right, so as we dive in, be warned that there are spoilers ahead. So, without further ado, let's begin. In the New York City Ballet with Nina Sayers, a young dancer who lives with her overprotective mother, Erica, a former ballerina. And, this is just a very common trope of like failed athletes, musicians, artists, whatever it is, but, like that are good or maybe even professional level, but they're not like, um, in the higher echelon of their, careers
Right.
or their sports or whatever. And, it seems like they always push that lifestyle on their children.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like one example I can think of is like Luis Miguel. He's probably one of the most popular, famous singers in the Spanish world, right?
Yep.
Well, his dad is also a singer, but not nearly as popular as he was. And, he has a series on Netflix, which you guys should watch as well. And, you kind of see how he's pushing him to be this person that I guess he wasn't.
Right.
Um, so yeah, anyways, that's what I took from that. She's just very, I guess, living in the past or her own downfalls, and she tries to push it onto Nina.
Right. I think I'm glad that you brought that up because kind of unrelated, but also related. I recently finished reading Jeanette McCurdy's like autobiography.
Oh
Um,
yes, I've heard that's very good.
super, super, super good. Highly, highly recommend it. But for the audience, if you're unaware of who Jeanette McCurdy is, she is she was a Nickelodeon TV show star.
Right.
And in the book that she wrote, she kind of sheds light on how her mother wanted to be an actress when she was younger, but her mom wouldn't allow her to do it. So once, Jeanette McCurdy's mom became a mom, she forced Jeanette to do all the acting, take all the classes, go to all the auditions, and she ended up hating it and developed, a really severe eating disorder and alcoholism and all these terrible things. So moral of the story is I think we have seen time and time again that this trope, that this push upon your children to do what you want them to do rarely ever works out.
Yeah, especially I think the book is called like "I'm Glad My Mom is Dead" or something like that.
Yes, I'm glad my mom died, which
Yes.
just off
So
the
yeah,
rip, like that kind of shows you how she felt about her mother. And honestly, well deserved.
yeah, exactly. I've heard a lot of things from that book where she says like her mother put her on a strict diet when she was young, and I guess she developed eating disorders and whatnot. So very sad situation, and kind of like you said, you can kind of see like what the relationship with her just based on the title.
Yes, it's very sad, honestly. And I feel
Yeah,
like that kind of competitiveness and just intenseness, I guess, comes through in Black Swan as well. So that's kind of why I made that tie.
yeah, definitely. That's a good tie. Um, the company is opening the season of. Let me see if I can say this. Uh, Chai. Oh man, I forgot how to say this? Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake. Damn it! I had learned it and then I forgot it.
That's so funny.
Tchaikovsky. I think that's how you say it. Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, that
And
sounds about right.
that took me a while to learn, and I tried to learn it so I didn't sound dumb, but apparently that didn't work.
That's so
And
funny.
I mean, I'm Mexican. I know Rodriguez. I know Garcia, Hernandez. I don't know Tchaikovsky.
Right.
I don't know this.
No,
Um,
literally.
but after forcing the current prima ballerina, which is the lead, Elizabeth or Beth, which is Winona Ryder's character, into retirement, artistic director Thomas Leroy announces that he is looking for a new dancer for the dual roles of the innocent and fragile white swan Odette and the sensual and dark swan Odile. Nina auditions and gives a flawless performance as Odette, but fails to embody Odile, causing Thomas to dismiss her. The next day, Nina asks Thomas to reconsider. He forcibly kisses her, and she bites him and runs out of the office. Um, and this is just, I guess you're hearing about it more and more, but this is just becoming such a common practice of like, these people in higher positions of power, like taking advantage of the talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Have you, I'll take this moment real quick. Have you seen that drama with Skip Bayless?
I like vaguely heard about it on TikTok, but like I don't know exactly like all the details. Um, to my knowledge, it was like a former worker for that channel or whatever, and they like sued Skip Bayless and what is it, Fox News? No, Fox Sports,
Yeah,
right?
Fox Sports. Yeah.
And basically saying like he was being like weird with them. Is that kind of the ballpark?
Yeah, basically, I guess he was like harassing her and like touching her inappropriately, and then supposedly, wanted to pay her like $1.5 million to sleep with her.
Oof, that's scary.
Yeah, so and she says that a Fox executive also like tried to sexually harass her as well.
Jeez.
So, anyways, that's just a I don't know, it's just a too much of a common practice in a lot of these industries.
Yeah, definitely. And it makes sense. Why? Because obviously there is an imbalance of power. Who's going to believe you? If you say anything like you're out, you're not going to be in this movie, you're not going to be in this play, you're not going to be in this dance, whatever it is. So it, that type of environment really breeds just terrible situation.
Exactly. And then sometimes, like, I don't know about in ballet, but, like in movies, if you want to make movies in this country, you have to go to Hollywood. There's no other Hollywood.
Right.
And I'm guessing in ballet, New York City is probably the best place, at least here in the country, to perform.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. I didn't think about it that way.
So like if she doesn't, or sometimes if you don't follow, the lead or whatever, or the executive or whatever, whoever's running the show, and sometimes they blackball you, sometimes you don't get another opportunity in that city.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyways, it's just it happens too much. Um
Definitely.
But later, Nina is surprised to find out that she has received the lead role. At the gala celebrating the new season, an intoxicated Beth publicly accuses Nina of providing sexual favors to Thomas in return for the role. So, hater vibes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely hater vibes. Like she really wanted to take that moment away.
The next day, Nina hears Beth has been hit by a car, and Thomas believes that she was attempting suicide. Nina visits Beth in the hospital and is distraught to see her injured legs. It is clear that she will never dance again.
Mm.
So, kind of like we were saying, it's just there's like an extremeness to this art form, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's very competitive, and I think, it doesn't help that it's mainly women pitted
Yeah,
against each other, whether
right.
it's, perceived threat or an actual threat. It's just breeding grounds for some bad stuff to happen.
And then I always feel like, and I guess this applies to anybody, not just specifically women, but I feel like women are women's biggest haters. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
in a lot of ways, yes.
But I guess that you could say that about anybody, but it seems like it's more like with women than men. I'm not saying in men it doesn't happen because it happens a lot, but it's very, very much so in women.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So during the rehearsals, Thomas tells Nina to observe a newcomer, Lily, who has a physical resemblance to Nina, but also has a quality that Nina lacks. So Lily, to me, is how I kind of took it, is that she's very sensual, but like in a darker way.
Right.
And Nina's this very like, um, how do I say, like innocence kind of, you know?
Yes, definitely.
It's kind of like I don't know if this is like the best way to explain it, but like, and this is not like anything on their physical appearance. I'm just saying like Nina is someone that you would consider like cute, right? Because of the
Yeah,
innocence.
right.
And Lily's someone that you would consider like hot, sexy, just because of the sensual.
Right.
But again, that's not so much on their physical appearance, it's just the way they carry themselves, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Nina has hallucinations and finds scratch marks on her back. One night, despite Erica's objections, which is her mother, Nina accepts Lily's invitation to go out for drinks. Lily offers Nina an ecstasy capsule, which Nina reluctantly accepts, and while intoxicated, Nina flirts with men at the bar and Lily as well. After the two dance at the nightclub, they go back to Nina's apartment and have sex. The next morning, Nina wakes up disoriented and alone and realizes that she is late for rehearsal. And this whole sequence was just I don't know, that is where the film like really took a turn for me.
Yes, I really love this whole sequence. I think it's so fun to watch, but it's also scary
Yes,
because you're like, what's going on? Like, what? This just took a complete 180. Like, what are we doing? Um, I really like the scene where they're at the actual club and dancing and the lights are strobing and you can tell it almost feels like you're there with them. Like how
right.
realistic some,
Yes,
dance scenes or some club scenes, like you can obviously tell it's very scripted. The background dancers aren't really, or the background people aren't really, doing much. Um,
right.
but I feel like in this scene or in this movie in general, like they did a really, really good job making it look realistic, which I find enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I was saying with the director's directing style. I think he has um that uniqueness that he puts like so much realism in his films. Like to me, watching Requiem for a Dream was almost like watching a documentary. Like that's how real it was.
Yes. Yes.
It's just so like I don't know, so lifelike that you kind of forget that you're watching a movie.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So so yeah, this is when the film takes a turn for me, and like I said, she has these hallucinations which are kind of terrifying at times. Um, and this is the part like if you're fishing, this is the part where if I'm the fish, it hooks me in. Like this is where it got me, and I
Yes.
was like, I need to like keep watching it. But anyways, at the rehearsal, Nina sees Lily dancing as Odile and confronts her about their sexual encounter. Lily denies that it happened and mocks Nina for fantasizing about her. And at this point, I wasn't really sure who was right. I didn't know if like that really just didn't happen, if that was just like a hallucination that she had. Um, because there's always been this kind of like I don't know, like romantic tension between them. I don't know if that was just me or not, but um
Right.
so
Yeah,
at this
no.
point, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think kind of to the point you said earlier about them kind of being opposites, Nina being this kind of sweet innocence to her. Um, I think their contrast really almost kind of sets the tone of like, hey, we're kind of different, but also like I kind of like the vibe that you're giving off and you like the vibe that I'm giving off.
Right.
So I think and, I think the director and the writer for this movie did a phenomenal job, right? Doing that.
Yes.
I think that it's almost like, okay, are we like friends? Or are we more than friends? Are we frenemies? Like, I don't know where we stand with each other, but like, I can't get enough of you.
Yes, exactly. And, I don't know if you noticed or really paid attention, but kind of to go on with that point, Lily, she wears a lot of black and Nina wears a lot of white. And
Right.
kind of to contrast their differences, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. So, anyways, I just really love that about it. And like I said, I didn't know if that really even happened, if that was just in her head, because she's been having these hallucinations. So it kind of kept me guessing, and I kind of don't like that in movies when you have to guess or you're like, did it really happen or not? But you know, for this film, it works so well.
Yeah. No, definitely. It keeps on with that theme of like that psychologicalness where it's like, what's actually going on here?
Exactly, exactly. Um, so Nina becomes convinced that Lily intends to replace her, especially after learning that Thomas has made Lily her alternate. Nina's mysterious injuries and hallucinations grow more severe, leading to an incident where she believes that she is transforming into Odile, which is this black swan, basically.
Right.
Um, Erica grows concerned about her well being and attempts to prevent Nina from performing on opening night. After a physical confrontation with her mother, Nina arrives at the theater where she finds Lily is preparing to take the stage as Odette. Because Nina has been absent, Nina convinces Thomas to allow her to take back her role. And towards the end of the ballet's second act, Nina is distracted by a hallucination. And like I've been saying, these hallucinations can be like um, anything from kind of like just wacky to like very, very scary.
Yes, definitely. It's when you're watching the movie, you kind of notice some things that don't add up
Right,
as the viewer because you see, you know, things that are moving in the background and, reflections that aren't adding up to what's being brought in front of it and things like that. So I feel like it's very it really is like you have to catch it, but once you catch it, you're like, wait, what's going on? Like, did I really just see that move? Or hey, why is that reflection? Why does her reflection look weird?
right, yeah. The one that really like scared me was I think she's like going to the kitchen or something, and then I think she sees Winona Ryder's character,
Right.
like kind of like all bloodied up, and I'm like, is she really there? Or she's just messing, just thinking. And it was pretty scary because it's one of those jump scares.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just really like that. Like you just don't really know what's real, what's not anymore.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yes. So during the act, she loses her balance during a lift, causing a male dancer to drop her, infuriating Thomas. Nina returns to her dressing room and finds Lily preparing to play Odile. She confronts Lily. She confronts her, and Lily appears to transform into a doppelganger of Nina. The two fight, breaking a mirror, and Nina stabs her doppelganger with a shard of glass, killing her and breaking the illusion. Nina hides Lily's body and takes the stage. She dances flawlessly as Odile and seemingly begins to turn into a black swan, her arms covered in feathers. Amidst a standing ovation from the audience, Nina surprises Thomas with a passionate kiss. So to me, this just kind of meant like she's totally embraced the wickedness now.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, she is fully engulfed in this, you know, in this dance and in her part. And I think that's a good point. Like she really is accepting the wickedness. I think throughout the movie you can kind of see her try to separate herself from that, but towards the
Right.
end of the movie it's like she's kind of just accepted what is of the situation and just takes full swing of it.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a really good way of putting it. And I don't know, just to add this, just because, why not? But you and me, well, I would say that we're big Sopranos fans, right?
Yeah,
And to me, the whole point of the show is that Tony is trying to become a better man, right? He knows his flaws and he's trying to be a better person.
right.
Um, and during the course of the show, he tries to, go to therapy and tries to do different things and, sometimes doesn't act on his evil ways or whatever.
Yeah,
Um, but at the end, I think he fully accepts his wickedness and knows that he's just an evil person. And to me, that's why the ending is so good, where it just cuts to black, because I think Tony just accepts that he's gonna die and dies.
yeah, absolutely. I think
So,
that's a really
anyways,
good comparison.
yeah, so I think that's just how I took it, like her as well, that she's accepted this evil facade now.
Definitely.
And,
And
oh, sorry, go
I
ahead.
think no, you're fine. I think as the viewer, you kind of catch on very early in the movie that this is their entire lives. They don't have anything besides this. They don't really
Right,
have a personality or other hobbies or friends even. Like their
right, yeah,
entire lives is surrounded about ballet, being the best, being the standout in the crowd. And I think just having that attitude, while it is, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be, heavily involved in your craft, but there definitely comes a point where it's like, okay, there's a point where it's healthy and then a point where it's obsessive and unhealthy. And, Nina definitely crossed that pretty early on in that movie.
yes, no, yeah, very well put. Yeah, I think, like you said, there's a line and of obsession and of being dedicated, and this film, and there's a bunch of films like this, where obsession takes over. But I really like this one, um, because it takes you into this world that at least I'm not familiar with, right?
Yeah.
And it throws this psychological horror twist into it, which that's becoming my new favorite genre of film.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so adding that together, I think you get a great film like this.
Yeah. And I think what I like about this movie compared to other movies kind of similar to this is I feel like as the viewer, you almost feel for Nina. It's like you feel bad for her because of her crazy mother, obviously, kind of putting a lot of pressure onto her.
Right,
This, she, in the beginning of the film, she's very quiet. She kind of sticks to herself. You could tell that she is passionate about her craft, um, which it's just sad as the viewer because you can see where her insecurities and her lack of self-esteem are kind of her predecessors. They're the reason why she kind of falls.
right,
Um,
yes.
so I think that's why this film just does it so well.
Oh yeah, no, beautifully said, exactly. Um, In her dressing room, Nina resumes the Odette tutu and white swan makeup, but is interrupted by Lily, who congratulates Nina on her performance. So, killing Lily was a illusion all in Nina's head, basically. And she sees that the mirror is still broken, but all other evidence of the stabbing are gone, including the body. She looks down and pulls a piece of glass from her stomach, realizing that she stabbed herself and not Lily. Despite her injuries, she dances the final act of the ballet with blood gradually seeping through her costume. The show ends with her jumping from the set onto a hidden mattress to simulate Odette throwing herself off a cliff. Everyone erupts into a applause while Thomas, Lily, and the other dancers gather around to congratulate Nina backstage. Thomas eventually realizes that Nina is bleeding and shouts for help, asking Nina what happened, and she calmly replies, "I felt it. It was perfect." At the end of as the screen fades to white, and the end.
Hmm. Such a good ending. Oh my gosh. I'm getting like chills thinking about it.
Yeah, and I kind of forgot to mention this, but very early on when she was auditioning for this play, the director, Thomas, he basically kept saying that, like, that it needs to be perfect. You need to feel it. I can't tell you how. You just have to feel it, right?
Right.
So that just came back 360, coming back saying like, I felt it. It was perfect. Basically telling
Right.
him I did what you wanted me to do.
Right. And it's sad. This entire movie is very sad because when you think about it plainly, she killed herself for this film or for this, dance and to make the people around her happy. And in the end, was it actually worth it?
Exactly. And I think, in these films with that obsession, I think that's the number one answer. Like at the end of the day, is it worth it?
Right. I
And
mean, kind of like what I said earlier, there's a line between being, you know, immersed in your craft and taking a lot of pride in it versus being so obsessed with it where you are willing to forgo everything, you are willing to cross lines that you never would have before. And it kind of just brings up the question, was it worth it? Is this really what you wanted, or did you want acceptance from everyone around you?
yes, exactly. Very well put. And kind of like you said, a lot of these, at least in this movie for sure, a lot of these girls, their whole life is the ballet. Like you said, there's no other real friends. Like they're totally engulfed in this. So, it makes that question even more, um, I don't know, I guess more sad in a way. Like was it really worth it to you?
Yeah, definitely. And, I think I honestly really love Natalie Portman's portrayal in this movie. I think she did a
Yes,
phenomenal job.
for sure.
Um, I think I read somewhere that she had lost like 20 or 25 pounds for this movie.
Oh wow.
Um, which if you guys have never seen the movie, she's very thin, which is kind of
Yes.
again, it goes along with that theme of like perfection, wanting to be the perfect ballerina, wanting to be this perfect image of what a beautiful woman should be, and it's really intense and it's very scary to think that Natalie Portman in real life had to lose all that weight. Um,
Right.
but fun little tidbit right there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, my little tidbit is that I know that the director, he separated Mila Kunis and Natalie Portman on purpose and kind of, in a way, almost started this kind of like beef between them for the
Right.
film, because kind of like you said, are we friends? Are we more than friends? Are we frenemies? We don't know where we stand with each other. So I think that was also done on purpose I guess, for the viewer to kind of get that same feeling.
I didn't know that, but that actually makes a lot of sense. I could see in this type of movie how that would actually work perfectly.
Right. Right. But yeah, so this was a great film. I believe this was your movie recommendation, so you know, thank you for this one. I honestly probably would not have watched it without this recommendation. So, and I'm really glad that I did.
I'm glad that you gave it a chance and I'm glad that you liked it. That's like I said, when I recommended this, I was like, I don't know, this could go either way. You could either really like it or like not like it. So I'm glad that you do like it. I think this movie is phenomenal. For the audience, if you've never seen it, I do recommend that you watch it. Um, it is
Yes.
very intense. And it gets kind of hard to watch at times. It's very
Yes.
sad. Um, but again, Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis, they put on a really, really great performance. So even if you're like us and you don't know really anything about ballet or that's not really your area of interest, I still think you would enjoy parts of this movie.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I for I wouldn't say I'm a ballet fan at all, and this movie kept me interested. And I don't know if this movie's targeted towards women or not, but like I was totally entertained throughout the whole film.
Yeah, me too. It's very, very good. I feel like once you start it, it's very hard to keep your eyes off of it.
Right, exactly. And I think it's a little less than 2 hours, but for me it just like flew by. I was like, what? I wanted more. Like I need more. And
Yeah, definitely.
usually well, not with a lot, but some films I'm just like, oh, is it almost time? Like now it's dragging on. But this one definitely could have been a little longer, and I wouldn't have mind at all.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I do think that it flies by, and honestly, if the movie was longer, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Exactly. So now we're gonna go to our ratings. If you don't know our rating system, 1 star is equal to 1 tub of popcorn on a scale of 10. I'll go first. So I give this film 9.5 tubs out of popcorn.
Ooh, that's high. All right.
Yeah, this is to me it's just simply amazing. It's gone into my top 20 list of favorite films. I really love this film. Like I kind of want to watch it again now, talking about it. Um,
Right.
but yeah, it's just become one of my new favorites. I really love the imagery. I love the color contrast, kind of like I was saying earlier, of the white and black. Basically symbolizing good and evil, innocence and darkness. So on and so on. Um, and kind of like you've been saying, I think Natalie Portman is outstanding in this. I think, I always thought she was a talented actress, but like this one just really showcased like her talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, and I really like this film. It's kind of weird, like, cause I guess my personality is not like that, but I don't have the personality to be obsessed over a certain thing for that long.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know, I really like films about, the desire to be perfect. And, I really like this film because it just showed me how intense like these sports arts, no matter how small, niche they can be, like they're really cutthroat. And um obviously like this film is made as a movie to entertain, but I think it also sheds some light on those arts. And yeah, I just think it's a beautiful and almost nightmarish work of art, and I would really recommend this to anybody.
All right. Great review. I love it.
Uh, Thank you. So, what's your rating?
My rating is 10 out of 10 tubs of popcorn.
Yes. Awesome.
Yes. I love this movie. As mentioned earlier, I did recommend this. I threw this into the pile of movies, and I didn't watch this when it came out, which I kind of regret now because I think watching this in theater had to have been like absolutely insane. But
Yes.
I watched this probably 2 years ago for the first time.
Oh, wow. So
Um,
pretty recent.
yeah, and I kind of went into it like you did, like not really knowing too much about it. I knew it was about ballerinas, but like that's literally it. Um, but I think that this movie, like you said, sheds light on kind of the dark side of art and sportsmanship and all of that. Um, I never I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't really have the personality type to become obsessed with things, but I know people who do fall into that type of personality. And when you feel like your self worth and your self esteem relies on an external validation, such as like ballet,
Right.
um, I think that really can lead to some very unhealthy habits. It can lead to your relationships falling apart, and just it's an obsession. It's an addiction, the same way that alcoholism and gambling can ruin someone's life. Being obsessed with anything can definitely lead you that way. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
think this movie does a great job of kind of portraying that and shedding light on that. I don't think people really think of addiction in this kind of sense, but it definitely applies the same way, in my opinion.
Right. No. Yeah. That's a great review. Yes, exactly. Um, yeah, I kind of like you said, a lot of people don't see it as an addiction like drugs or alcohol or like you said gambling, but I mean, you can even be addicted to water, and drinking too much water is not good for you neither. Um,
Right.
and that's something that we all need, something that's, healthy, drinking water. But, when you become addicted or obsessed with it and you're drinking it constantly, you can lead to even having, health problems because of it.
Definitely. And, in the sense of ballet, you know, if you have a healthy relationship with it, it could be a great way to get, exercise and stretch and meet people and do all these great things. But again, it's so easy for certain personality types to fall down the wrong road and just become obsessed with it and forgo all morality and to do, the best. So I really love this movie. I think it is genuinely such a good watch. It goes by so fast. And again, to the viewers, even if you don't care about ballet, even if that is literally, so far gone from you, I do recommend that you watch this movie because it is just that good.
It is. It is really that good. And that was a great review.
Thank you.
So yeah, we'll go to our movie recommendation. I'll let you go first this time, and you could tell us what to add to our watch list.
Yes. So my movie recommendation for this week's episode is Midsummer. It is a A24 film. It came out a few years ago, maybe like 7, 6, 8. I don't remember.
Right,
Um, but it's a really, really good watch. It is similar to Black Swan in the sense of that psychological thriller. Is this actually happening? We don't know as the viewer. You're kind of in limbo in that type of way, which I find those types of movies very enjoyable to watch.
right.
Uh, Midsummer is, to put it in a nutshell, it is basically about these group of friends who go overseas to, what is it, Sweden? Or what is it?
Yeah, it's like Sweden or Norway, one of those like Scandinavian countries.
Yes, yes. They go to a Scandinavian country, and they kind of find themselves immersed in a cult, and it kind of just tears that whole friend group apart in different ways. People go
Right.
missing. People are, dragged into the cult. It's very interesting to watch. So I think that it kind of fits along with Black Swan in the sense of, as a viewer, you don't really know what's going on until you like the second or third watch, and then you're like, oh, that I can see where this is going. So that is my movie recommendation for this week.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. Funny thing, we went to go watch that together.
Yes,
Uh,
we did.
if you remember when it came out, which I don't remember, it might have been like you said, I think maybe like 2017, 18-ish, around that time. Um,
Yes, that sounds about right.
yeah, and yeah, I remember we went to the theater and it was a good watch. It is a bit weird, a bit out there, but kind of like any A24 film, it's a bit weird, but if you're into those kind of things, I think it's a really good film.
Yeah, definitely. And thankfully for us, we did get to watch that one in theater. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Black Swan, but we'll take our wins and losses.
Oh yeah, that would have been fun. But it's kind of strange. I don't know if I would have liked Black Swan when it came out because I would have been like 15, so who knows if I would have liked it. Um, there's some films that you watch as a kid or younger or whatever, and you don't appreciate it until you're older.
Yep,
Um,
that's true.
like one that I remember watching was 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is a great Stanley Kubrick film, and I remember watching it when I was like, I don't know, maybe 15 to 17 in that age range, and I hated it. I thought it was so boring.
Yeah.
And then I recently watched it again because you were telling me that you watched it, and the second time that I watched it, I really loved it.
Yes, definitely. I do agree. I think I I feel like, everyone has those movies where it's like you watch it for the first time and you're like, it's fine, or oh, that sucked. And then you give it a chance, months later or years later, and you're like, wait a minute. All right, this is kind of good.
One of the famous examples for me is Psycho. I hated it the first time I watched it,
Right.
and now it's like in my top five films.
It is a great movie. I felt the same way about Beetlejuice. I didn't really like it at first. I was like, this is kind of dumb. And then
Yes,
watching it
I
again
remember
as an adult, I'm like, oh, this kind of eats. Like, they kind of had a point. This is very
that.
80s coded.
Yeah, it's very cheesy, so you got to get to it. But yeah, yeah, I remember you didn't like that one. I was like, man, that's a cool one.
Yes, I think I just had a misunderstanding of it. I thought it was supposed to be scary and not like comedic. So
Ah,
I just
yeah.
didn't appreciate it.
Ah, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great recommendation. Definitely watch it. I think it's on Max, and I think it's leaving. I think by the end of this month of January. So watch it while you have a chance, because who knows when it'll be on another streaming network or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely give it a watch. It's pretty good. Um, so my movie recommendation for the week is the 2014 indie drama Whiplash. And weirdly enough, I barely watched this like maybe in the last 3 months, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch it, and it hasn't been on one of the streaming sites. And I always heard really good things that it's amazing. It's, one of the best films of the 2010s. And it finally got onto Netflix, like I said, a few months ago, and I watched it and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
I watched Whiplash like 2018, I think.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
the only reason I watched it is because when I was in college, I took a movie class.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and one of the required movies to watch was Whiplash. So I remember watching it, and I loved it. And I'm
Yeah,
kind of glad that it was introduced to me that way because honestly, I don't think I would have watched it any other way. And especially at that time when I was 18, I just don't see myself gravitating towards like that type of movie.
right.
Um, but I'm glad that it was required because otherwise I wouldn't have watched it. So I think that's a great recommendation.
Wow, well, that's really cool. I took a movie class in high school, and we didn't get to watch like we had to watch like these older films, and I guess at the time I don't even remember which ones we had to watch, but I didn't really like it.
Right.
But yeah, so that's pretty cool to know that you watched it because of a film class in college. Um, but yeah, so basically the plot is a young drummer. He enrolls in this cutthroat music conservatory, I guess is what they call it. It's kind of like a school, and he's kind of put to the test. I guess his dreams are put to the test. Trying to achieve greatness by this instructor who basically is not going to stop at nothing or won't stop at all, basically, to realize this student's potential. Because I guess he sees that he's a great drummer, but this instructor, he's very, um, what's the word? He can be very mean, and he can be very, um, he doesn't go by the books. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's definitely a
And
way to put it.
yeah, and so it's very good. I don't know. I kind of want to say maybe I like Whiplash a little bit better. Maybe they're
Okay.
about the same, but I really like both of these films. Weirdly enough, though, I'd rather watch Black Swan again than Whiplash. So
Okay.
maybe I like Black Swan better, but and basically I picked this one because kind of like Black Swan, it's about a person trying to achieve perfection and will stop at nothing to get to that point. And so it kind of just reminded me of that. And Miles Tellers, who's the actor, and J.K. Simmons, they're both fantastic in this. You know, they work well off of each other, and I just highly recommend this one. So. Like I said, it's on Netflix, so you guys should definitely give that a watch because, it took a while for it to get on a streaming site, so I'm glad that Netflix picked it up.
Yeah, no, it's a really good movie and I kind of like the contrast between Whiplash and Black Swan in the sense that like Black Swan is very heavily related to like women and obviously ballet is typically, you know, designated as like a women's hobby or craft or what have you.
Right,
Whereas Whiplash, it definitely revolves more around like the male psyche and like kind of that very edginess, competitiveness. Like I'm gonna talk to you how I want to talk to you. Um, it's very straightforward. So I think that they have a nice contrast between the both films. So as a viewer, I do recommend that you watch both. Even though they sound similar, they definitely differ in ways that you know you can only understand if you watch them.
right. And, that's a really good point. I never even saw that. But yeah, that Black Swan is more to the female psyche, as Whiplash is more to the male psyche. And, I guess I never really noticed that until you pointed that out. So, yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. But yeah, kind of like you were saying, they're very similar, I guess, by the way we're explaining it, but until you watch it, you see that they're totally two separate films. Like, they're not really that similar when you put them together.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, but but yeah, that's my movie recommendation for the week.
That it's a great one. That was a good
Oh,
one.
well, thank you. My next one I was gonna actually recommend was that film called A Killing of a Sacred Deer. I watched that yesterday and I really liked it. And I was tempted to put that one just because of the psychological horror aspect, but I went with Whiplash just because more than the horror aspect of the film, what I really liked was that obsession and trying to achieve perfection. That's what I got out of it more. So that's why I went with Whiplash.
It was a good choice. I definitely think that this our movie recommendations definitely hit the nail, especially around Black Swan and psychological thrillers and all of that. So yay for us.
Yes. Yep. So, if you do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, I don't think so. Well, I guess like closing thoughts. Um, Definitely go watch Black Swan and Whiplash. I would honestly watch Whiplash first, just because it's kind of rare for it to be on like a streaming service. So I would just take full
Right.
advantage. If you're gonna watch that one first. But really, I really enjoyed this week's movie, episode. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. This one is very near and dear to my heart. I love it. Um, and yeah, overall, this was a good pick this week.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I kind of agree. I think you should watch Whiplash. Kind of like you said, it did take a while for it to get picked up by a streaming site, at least from when I was trying to look for it, which was, the beginning of last year. And it took all the way to almost the end of the year, to get on there. But I would definitely recommend Whiplash first, just because it's it's less intense than Black Swan. Black Swan can be intense. It can be a little bit hard to watch at times, just because of the subject matter and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I think these were really good film recommendations. I think this was a great film that we've done. Yeah, so I'm excited what we do next.
Yes, you guys stay tuned because another good one is coming up. And then we potentially might have something exciting to announce for the month of February, but I will keep that under wraps until next episode when we fully decide. But things are brewing.
Yes, exactly. Well said. So, if you don't have anything else to add, I don't.
I do not.
All right, so we can go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Movie Hour. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.
See ya.